Welcome. My name is Diane Darling, and I like to share really interesting people with you. And one person I want to share with you is Jan Griffiths. Among other things, I've never met her because of COVID. We only know each other in a virtual setting. And you may be surprised that every morning, Monday to Friday, I get up at 6:30 and meet Jan and a group of other people for an accountability group. We talk about what we're going to get done that day, professionally, personally, and our word for the day. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know Jan over this time. And so I wanted to interview her and talk about the accountability. It was called a clinic. It's now called a lab. We'll talk about why that has changed and introduce all of you to her. Jan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Diane. It's great to be here with you.
So first, let's start out with, what's that accent? Tell us about your background.
It's Welsh, Diane. It's not English, it's Welsh. And I get very testy when people say, which part of England are you from? I'm not from England, I'm from Wales. I'm very proud of my Welsh heritage. We have a dragon on our flag. What does that tell you about the Welsh people? So I am from Wales. I grew up on a farm and in a very small village of Coiti, and I came over to this country with the automotive industry about 35 years ago. Worked my way up through the automotive industry and became one of the top 100 leading women in the automotive industry in 2015. Achieved my dream job of all time, which was to be in the C-suite of a major auto supplier, and then quit, Diane. And I just said it was enough. I wanted to focus on my real passion, which was leadership. And I started my own business 2 years ago, and here we are.
Let's talk a couple of different things. First of all, Wales does make quite a contribution other than the Prince of Wales. We've got, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Tom Jones. Are there a lot of Joneses in Wales?
A lot of Joneses. And don't forget Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, absolutely. Wasn't Richard Burton from?
Indeed, a very proud Welshman.
Absolutely. Certainly thank you to the country of Wales. I actually was there when I was a child, so many years ago. And we're not going to put any numbers in here. Otherwise, it means we're over 29, right, Jan?
That's right.
So you came to the United States with the automotive industry, found yourself in the C-suite. Let's talk about leadership. What was your leadership style, and how did they find you? Let's talk about that.
I started off with my leadership style. I grew up in a very aggressive, male-dominated automotive environment in the UK, and the same was true in the US. I think it was probably a little bit more aggressive in the UK. And I remember, Diane, when I started my career, I was the one who was expected to get the coffee and take the notes in the meeting because I was the girl in the room. It had nothing to do with title or how smart you were. And I tell people that story today, and young women just cringe, right? They go, what? I can't believe that happened today.
It happened to a woman I know just a year ago. She's a venture capitalist, and there were some young guys coming to pitch the venture capital firm. And she was running to the ladies' room, and the guys were walking in, and they said, oh, can you tell us where the meeting is? And they said, great. And can you get us some water so we're ready for the meeting? And she said, sure, happy to bring you water. And then she brought the water, sat down, and she goes, I'm the venture capitalist you're meeting with. And their faces just went ashen. Can never know.
Yeah.
So leadership, you now lead this group of people at 6:30 in the morning, which I've been privileged to be a part of. And I met somebody, I'm on the LinkedIn Rock Stars with the amazing Mrs. Brenda Meller, the marvelous Mrs. Meller. And so she and I overlap because she teaches LinkedIn and I teach networking, among other things. We both have been on the speakers circuit. And she mentioned it to me. I don't know how long you had been going before I joined, but what made you start this?
I know that when the pandemic hit, it hit me hard. And I'm the person that's literally on stage telling people you need to make a commitment to yourself in the morning. You say you're going to get up at 4 a.m., you get up at 4 a.m., you don't hit the snooze. That's how you start your day, making commitments to yourself to set up your day for success. And I've lived my life that way. And then when the pandemic hit, it hit me hard. I was hitting the snooze. I wanted to go back to sleep. I didn't want to get up. I have at the time, a 17-year-old daughter at home. I'm a role model for her. I didn't want her to see me this way. I was scared. I was worried about getting groceries, getting food, worried about health issues. All the things that we went through, watching the death counter on the TV in the early days, so much uncertainty, I was really scared. And I thought, I need something. I need to give something, but I need something selfishly for myself. I need to get a routine, a schedule moving. So I thought, hey, I'll just throw it out there, social media, and see what comes back. So I said, hey, I'm going to start an accountability clinic. We called it a clinic in the beginning. If anybody wants to join me, it's going to be 6:30. And I wanted it to be 6:30 because I want to make that commitment, right? To get up early and start your day. And right before the pandemic, I was getting up at 4:30 and going to Orange Theory to the gym at 5 a.m. So initially I thought it's a little bit of a lie-in, right? So 6:30.
Yep.
So then I talked to Anita, and Anita, as you know, is a business coach, and she has neuroscience background. So I said, what do you think? Do you think this is a good idea or what? And she said, no, I think it's a great idea. Just do it. So there really wasn't a lot of science or structure behind it other than this commitment and need to have connection, to have a routine, and to share it with other people.
For me, I agree with you. It was when the pandemic first hit, among many people, I thought it was going to be short. And I was a speaker. My last keynote speech was early March. When I got on the plane, I thought, oh, this feels different. And then about a month later, I saw on a meeting planning group that Microsoft was going to stop all meetings over 100 people through June of 2021. And this was in April, May of 2020. And I thought, if they're holding them off for a year, Microsoft, aka Bill Gates, knows a few things about vaccines and that part. And I'm like, they know this is going to be a longer haul. And I literally saw my career go off a cliff. And so I was grateful to have something because I live alone, I work alone, and I was finding myself hitting some quasi depression and some just lack of any structure. And while I had worked from home before, I was also working on homes, but planes and trains and hotels and having a variety of settings. What made you switch from the clinic to the lab? Because I can't remember quite at what point that happened, but I remember there was that shift. Talk a little bit more about that.
In the beginning, there was a definite need, and a clinic is where you go typically for help or support. And then I found that we had evolved. We had formed this community of people, and what we were really doing is trying out and experimenting different ways of methods, if you will, of accountability. What is this art of achievement all about? How do you achieve your goals every single day and stay consistent with that and take really sustainable, purposeful action every single day? And every person is different. There's no right or wrong answer. And you can read all the books that you want, and we all pick out something that resonates with us, but it's not the same for everyone. And I think that's a big part of leadership today, of authentic leadership. People need to recognize that every human being is different. They need different things at different times in their lives. And so what we ended up doing in the group is, as you well know, we sort of experiment with different things. We've talked about taking a shower before bed, meditation apps, focusing on the big thing first in the morning, just so many different things. So I thought we're really experimenting with different ways to hold ourselves personally accountable. So that's why we changed it to lab.
We've been bugging you to add more to this. We've been very lucky to be in your beta group, your charter member group, and you're now looking to expand this. We've been telling you, all of us who've been having the pleasure to do this, have been saying, we encourage you to do this more. And so now you're going to be going into Accountability Lab 2.0 and launching into another group. What are you finding is the questions that people are asking you about that next phase? What are their fears, concerns? One of the things I've been grateful for is the confidentiality. At one point, there was somebody who was interested in it, and I said, as long as they don't sell us or as long as they don't compromise that, I wanted to be sure to keep the integrity of it. What are some other things that you're being sure are a part of this 2.0 group?
I think there's the same as with any group that you join. It's this concern about judgment. And I don't think people they're not really verbalizing this, but I can sense it. It's this fear of judgment and then this commitment, right? Am I going to be committed to showing up to this call every day at 7:07, because lab number 2 will start at 7:07. And I tell people, we're all human beings. The whole idea of this is that you make a commitment to yourself. That's the whole idea of it. But we're human beings and life happens. It's okay, as from lab 1. It's okay if something comes up, or you've had a really late night, you've had to work late, or something happens with the family and you can't make it the next day. There is no judgment. There is just a group of people who want to support each other and help each other to keep moving forward. That's what this is.
And it's been fun because in the interim, since I joined, I got a day job. I am now doing an evening job hunters lab for people who are job hunting, because I thought, I'm not going to be on planes for a while. I know I can commit to something, and I'm doing this in the evening. And it's been interesting thinking about that whole lab, no judgment. I said to the folks the other day, there's no grade here. There's no grades. It's your job. It's whether or not if you're looking for a job, you got to do the work. If I want to lose weight, it's up to me to not eat chocolate every night. Although sometimes it's a lot of fun to eat chocolate. As you're putting this next group together, is it open to 100 people, 20 people? Can you talk a little bit about if someone's going to join you, what that's going to look like?
Yeah, I love the personal connections that we have from lab 1. And there's something very special about that. So I'm going to hold it to 12 people, to no more than 12 people for lab 2. As we expand, then I will have to think about starting the group together and then dividing out into breakout groups. But we're not ready for that yet. And I love the personal connection that we have right now. And we're going to maintain that for lab 2 for as long as we can.
That's great. That's great. How can people find out about the lab? What's the best way for them to find out about that? We'll be putting some information in the comments below, but what are some other ways that people can find out about you, Jan?
Yeah, sure. Just jump onto the website, gravitasdetroit.com, and there's a page there called The Lab, and that will give you all the information you need and the sign-up details. And it's all right there. There's a short video. And of course, I'm always happy to connect with people on my personal LinkedIn page, Jan Griffiths.
Great. So that's Gravitas Detroit.
That's it.
Is there a large Welsh population in Detroit? Or are you the mayor of?
No, there are a few Welsh people in Detroit that I have only just found recently in the last year, believe it or not.
That's why I went on LinkedIn and found all the, not all the people, but a lot of people named Darling, and I did a Darling party. So sometimes it's just fun to go a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Jan, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. It's been terrific to learn about you a little bit more, your background, understand what accountability is about, leadership, your story. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next morning at 6:30. Thank you so much.
See you at 6:30, Diane.
All right, I'll be there.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.